So I want to talk today about the worst thing that ever happened to you. Sorry, I know no one wants to talk about the worst things that ever happened to them, but I'm bringing this up for an important point. And one of the things I've learned, and I've learned a lot from one of my distant mentors, Dr. John 𝒂𝒂𝒂, and you know, his work has really influenced my work quite a bit. I don't get as analytical as he does. He's a brilliant man, so nothing against him, but a lot of the women that I work with, you know, they want fast answers and they want to do things like this, and so the detail of his work can get a little bit much for some people. But here's the thing, and the premise is beautiful, and it's a universal law. It's the law of polarity. If you think that something is all good or all bad, you are wrong. Nothing is all good or all bad. And if you think that the people that have harmed you or hurt you or caused you stress are all negative, then you're not looking at the full picture. And this is my part that I want to add in. Our brains are seeking, they're meaning-seeking missiles. And so if you tell your brain, or if your brain tells you, oh, this person is bad, your brain is only going to see the bad in that person. But if you balance out, which I'm going to show you how to do in this video, if you balance out the bad with the good, you'll realize that everything has equilibrium. Everything is just neutral. And when we can come from a place of neutrality and find even gratitude in the bad things that have happened to us, well, now we have just laid a brand new beautiful path in our neural networks and in our heart, so that we have this foundation for manifesting the things that we want. You know, I always say this, and I've always said it and I always will, and that is that manifestation is a pretty basic concept, and you're doing it every day, all the time, whether you know it or not. And so my purpose on the planet, what I consider my mission, is to help people understand how to manifest properly, because we're manifesting all the time. And while my work 20 years ago, 25 years ago, was all mostly focused on let's just do the process, let's do this and this and this, and that's the manifestation process. What I have learned over the years, especially the last several years, is that our nervous systems are so jacked up, or our subconscious thinking is so ass backwards, that we don't have the foundation. It's similar to going and building a house without having the engineers or the architects even survey the land. Just like, give me a 2x4, this house is going up. But if you don't have the solid foundation, what's going to happen to the house? I mean, it's going to sink, it's going to fall apart, it's going to blow over. So when I'm talking about these kinds of things, it's clearing the decks. I always say that there's three things, and I may be writing a book. I may be, even though I just finished one, but I may be working on a book, and it may be just an ebook, or it may be just a book that I give to my clients. But it's really the three aspects of what we have to do in order to manifest, or what we get to do. I shouldn't say have to, because you're manifesting all the time. Why not manifest with intention and purpose and direction, right? So the first is always going to be, we have to express and excavate the parts of ourselves that we've been in denial of. And then we have to explore the perceptions that we've had and that we have. And then we have to engineer what we want to create. So the engineer part is the part that everyone loves. Let's look at the book, The Secret. Let's get this book. Let's stare at the moon and spin around 3 times and put our hands here, and then it'll come true. None of that works if we haven't done the first 2 steps. If we haven't gotten the emotions out, the pressure cooker, the river of rage, if we haven't gotten that out, and we haven't explored and examined our beliefs and our thoughts with really, really honest insight. And I'm even learning to use ChatGPT, which has really been helpful for myself and my clients, which, you know, I'll tell you about in future videos. Anyway, the point being that when we understand that all of that is foundational to manifesting, it becomes easier. So now let me back up and let's start this video over again. What was the worst thing that ever happened to you? So what I would ask you to do is I would ask you to write down, well, if we were doing a one-on-one, we'd go a lot deeper. But since we're not doing a one-on-one, I'm going to give you just the basic construct to help you understand how to do this and journal this out. So first of all, I would say, what was it that really, really happened? And you would write it down. And what were all the drawbacks of it? And write it all down. And what were the benefits of it? And right there, you're going to go, no, 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 because that's where your resistance comes up. Of course, because your brain has been trained to see that event or that person, if you're thinking of a person, as all bad. Your brain is like, don't show me something good. This is not happening. But this is where the work is. This is where the gold is. This is where the healing is. So let's say, for example, something horrible. Let's say you lost a loved one. You lost a child. You had an arm amputated. Something really bad. And I want you to think about all the benefits you simultaneously gained as a result. I know people who have lost a child and they went on to start a nonprofit to prevent thousands and hundreds of thousands of other children being kidnapped that way. I know people who have lost a limb and who have gone on tour talking about how you can overcome anything. And I'm sure if I ask you just point blank, what was the worst thing that happened to you and how did that turn into something good, you can think of it. Because everything that happens to us, no matter how bad it is, always has a flip side to it. And the sooner that we can discover that flip side and appreciate it, the more neutral we can be. And then all that stress of those years of holding on to that, oh my God, that was so bad, it just evaporates. And as it evaporates, it's not just an emotional evacuation, it's also a neurological event. And when you really see it clearly, you get like a little, what's called a gamma burst, like, oh my God. For example, I'll give you one with me, is that I've always thought, I used to always think that there was someone in my life that was just so controlling. And then I came to realize after doing this work, the benefits of that person being controlling actually really guided me to be a very organized person. Because I wasn't organized as a kid, but having this person being very controlling, I got really organized. And it's one of my, greatest traits right now. So when we can find that and we can find how it's helped us and how it's benefited us, and then we begin, it's not about forgiveness. Because in a world where all things are equal, you don't have anything to forgive. In fact, when we say we're going to forgive someone, what we're really saying is they did something bad and I'm in judgment of that. And do you see how that keeps us down in the lower vibrational state? So what we want to do is lift ourselves up and understand there's nothing that needs to be forgiven ever. Now, I want to step back and say that doesn't mean that if you shut someone in the door, you shouldn't say, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I'm not saying on a superficial level that we shouldn't offer apologies and be polite and be civilized. I'm saying on a really deep level, nobody owes us an apology, and there's nothing to forgive. Because every time someone did something bad to you, someone else was doing something good to you, and someone else was having something done by that person that was good, and it gets really, really, really deep. That's why I was saying it's really convoluted. We're not going there. I just want to look at this from a very basic perspective and have you understand that nothing is all bad and nothing is all good. Dr. DeMartini says the pit and the pendulum, right? It's like, oh no, that's an Edgar Allan Poe movie, The Pit and the Pendulum. Sorry, DeMartini calls it the pit and the pedestal. We're either seeing something that's all great, and it's because we're comparing ourselves, but we have those traits. Or we're seeing something is all bad, but it's benefiting us. So it's all about finding, we've always known in yoga, it's equilibrium. It's about finding that state of peace. Nothing's all bad, nothing's all good, and just finding the center. And from the center is where we can manifest. the stuff that we really want. But again, if we're seeing the things that we really want as just being so amazing and we're infatuated with them, we're not seeing them realistically. We have to say, okay, let's say, for example, you wanted to be a celebrity. You want to be a movie star, right? And you just see the movie star lifestyle as just being so intoxicating and amazing. As long as you see it that way, you're holding yourself apart from it. So if it's an infatuation, you would give me 100 reasons, 100 drawbacks of that. And then you would do 100 benefits. So you want the drawbacks and the benefits. And in those, you can find the equilibrium. Does that make sense? And you've probably, if you've been in the coaching industry for a long time, as a client or a coach, I've done so many programs where people have said, okay, write 100 reasons for this and 100 reasons against it. I never knew it came from 𝒂𝒂𝒂. And so I, as a writer and an English professor, I am the last person in the world to not credit somebody. And so I want to make sure I give full credit to Dr. 𝒂𝒂𝒂, because those people who had me do these things never did. And, which is a real shame, because Dr. 𝒂𝒂𝒂 is brilliant. So with that being said, anything that you think is really so good you can't wait, or so bad you can't stand it, come up with all the opposites of it. And you will find that nothing in this universe, nothing in this world is ever completely good or completely bad. And that includes mass murderers and everything you can think of. And we're not going down that because I work with people in business, but just know that it's true. Okay, and if you want to know more information, you can read one of his books. I would recommend The Breakthrough Experience. It's a really great book. Okay, so hopefully that's been helpful for you. Don't just listen to me, do it. Find something bad that's happened to you, and you come up with all the benefits. And when you come up with 100 benefits to something that you're like, no, it's all bad, you're going to find that there's as much to be grateful for as to be resentful for. And if you're grateful and resentful, guess what? You're in the middle. You're neutral. And that's the idea here. Let's take the charges out of everything that charges us, and we'll have a very strong foundation for manifestation. I hope you found that useful, and I hope you have a beautiful day. Thanks so much for watching.